Thor followed the stars to a forge older than the 9 realms. There, the hammer waited, silent, glowing alive. It answered only to his pain and fed on it. With every swing, it grew stronger, and Thor weaker. Hulk tried to stop him. The hammer rewrote his rage. Iron Man built a failsafe. Thor crushed it in silence. The gods thought they'd found a new weapon, but the hammer had only one purpose: to kill the god who lifts it. The hammer that wasn't forged. It was grown. Thor stood alone on the shattered bridge of Asgard's last satellite observatory, eyes fixed on the constellation known only to gods, the one that had been silent for millennia. Tonight, it pulsed with motion, not light, not prophecy, but a call. Bifrost was long gone, and Heimdall's gaze had faded into myth. But something beyond even Mjolnir's memory had awakened. The sky itself whispered in thunder, and Thor, son of Odin, could no longer ignore it. He turned toward the void. "You call me," he said, lifting Stormbreaker. "Then show me." A single star blinked out, then another. Then a line formed in the sky, a path only he could see. He followed. Deep in the void between realms, Thor descended onto a fragment of reality, a broken forge adrift in frozen time. It was no dwarf forge, no Nidavellir. This was older, built not with fire, but with pressure. An entire moon crushed into a hammer-shaped monument suspended above a gravity well. He could feel it, the hum, the breath, the presence of something alive. In the center of it, floating like a heartbeat in stone, was the hammer. Dark gray, no markings, no handle, just raw matter, pulsing with colorless light. Thor stepped closer. Stormbreaker vibrated in his hand, resisting. "Easy, old friend," he whispered. "You've earned your rest." He dropped it. As it clanged against the ancient floor, the new hammer rose. Not toward him, into him. His chest arched, breath stopped. Not pain, not joy, just recognition. The hammer sank into his palm. He didn't lift it. It chose to rest there. And for the first time since Odin's death, Thor felt small. The moment he returned to Earth, the sky over Norway cracked with purple lightning. The Avengers gathered within hours. Captain Marvel arrived first, hair crackling with solar tension. That doesn't look like an upgrade. Thor stood barefoot on the shoreline, the new hammer hanging weightless beside him. "It wasn't made here," he said, "or anywhere." Iron Man floated down. "Let me guess, it bonded to you instantly, speaks to your soul, and might be alive." "I didn't ask." Classic Thor. The hammer pulsed. Tony's suit dimmed. For half a second, everything around him went silent. Wanda watched from the hill, her red energy flickering involuntarily. "It doesn't feel like a weapon," she whispered. "It feels like a choice." "Whose?" Bruce asked. She didn't answer. Thor vanished the next day. The hammer had begun to whisper, not in words, but in rhythms, patterns in thunderclouds, tremors in stone, silence between heartbeats. He followed it. He didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't speak. It led him to the ruins of gods no one remembered. Each time he struck it against the ground, the landscape changed. Once, the desert turned green. Once, the ocean froze solid. Once, the sky reversed. Day became night for 1 second. With each swing, the hammer glowed brighter, and Thor felt heavier. When the Avengers found him again, he stood in the crater of a collapsed mountain. Hammer raised high, lightning frozen mid-bolt, unmoving. Captain Marvel called out, "Thor, you need to stop." He didn't look at her. She flew closer. "This thing is draining you." "No," he said. "It's preparing me." "For what?" "To become what it was made to destroy." They tried to take it from him. Wanda wrapped it in Hex Force. Hulk jumped him from behind. Iron Man used a gravity pulse to pull free. Nothing worked. But the hammer didn't fight back. It just watched. Then it grew a handle. Out of Thor's blood. He didn't scream. He didn't even blink. The hammer reshaped itself. Curling veins of starlight laced into raw stone. Every breath Thor took made it stronger. Bruce analyzed it. "It's learning from his biology." Wanda corrected him. "No, it's rewriting it." Tony snapped. We pull it now, or we lose him." But Thor was no longer listening. He stood atop a ridge in the Himalayas, breathing with the wind. Around him, storms circled, not summoned, but grown, as if the world was adapting to him, or to the hammer. He whispered to the sky, "If I fall, let it be because I lifted something heavier than myself." And the hammer glowed again. Only this time, the light wasn't colorless. It was black. Iron Man confronted him one last time. "Whatever that thing is, it's using you." Thor looked over his shoulder, eyes dim. "It's not using me." He turned fully. "I'm becoming it." Behind him, the sky cracked. Not a portal, not a rift, a mirror. On the other side, something moved. A version of Thor, twisted, burned, alive only because the hammer wouldn't let him die. And it spoke with a voice made of wind. "You weren't the first. You won't be the last. You are just the next." Thor dropped to his knees. The hammer pulsed in his hand, not in power, but in agreement. The hammer that remembers other gods. The Avengers had faced gods before. They'd fought Thanos with 6 Infinity Stones, faced Ultron with unlimited access to global code, survived magic, time, and multiversal collapse. But never this. Never a weapon that didn't want to destroy the world. It wanted to rebuild it. Without them, Thor hadn't spoken in 3 days. He walked the earth like it didn't belong to him anymore, or like he didn't belong to it. The hammer floated behind him now, not held, not carried. It followed, as if it were a hungry ghost. Wanda and Bruce tracked him to a remote glacier in Siberia, where the aurora danced unnaturally in the sky. "It's too quiet," Bruce muttered. Wanda nodded. "Nothing's breathing." Thor stood alone on a cliff. The hammer orbited him slowly, glowing with a new energy, black around the edges, gold at the core. "You shouldn't have come," Thor said without turning. "We didn't come to fight," Wanda replied. "We came to help." "There is no help," he said. "There is only remembering." She blinked. "Remembering what?" Thor turned, eyes dim and distant. "That the gods who forged this hammer died lifting it." Back in Wakanda, Shuri analyzed the shockwaves from Thor's last appearance. "It's not just a weapon," she told the holographic council. "It's an interface. It doesn't channel energy, it grows it, like a parasite." Tony folded his arms. "A parasite that thinks it's a cure. And if it finishes its bond with Thor," she added, "he stops being Thor. He becomes the Forge itself." Carol stepped forward. "So we stopped the bond." Shuri paused. "That might kill him." Tony didn't flinch. "Or it might save the planet." Thor's body was changing. His skin harder now. His veins filled with something older than lightning. When he breathed, the wind around him slowed. When he walked, trees leaned. And when he raised the hammer, space itself rippled, as if time was deciding whether to obey him. It wasn't power. It was presence. The hammer began whispering, at first only to him, then to everything. Wanda felt it in her blood. Bruce saw it in his dreams. Tony heard it echoing in the arc reactor. Even when it was turned off, the whisper wasn't a voice. It was a memory. "I remember the gods of fire. I remember the kings of dust. I remember the titan who tried to lift me and burned. I remember what Thor has forgotten." Then came the first rupture. In Nepal, a portal tore open above a monastery, not from the multiverse, but from inside the planet. Out stepped something ancient, a hammer bearer, not Thor. A skeletal figure made of ash and stars, holding a decayed version of the same weapon, flickering, unstable. It didn't speak. It didn't roar. It simply struck the ground, and time froze across an entire valley. Doctor Strange barely contained the collapse. "It's happening," he told the Avengers. "Other wielders, other failures." "These are echoes," Bruce added. "Ghosts of those who tried before him." "But why now?" Wanda asked. Tony stared at the satellite feed. "Because Thor is about to finish what they started." In New York, the clouds formed a circle, just like the first constellation that had called him. Thor arrived. No ship, no lightning, just wind wrapped around silence. He stood in front of Avengers Tower, hammer pulsing. "I don't want to hurt you," he said. "You already are," said Iron Man, stepping forward. The others appeared behind him. Hulk, Captain Marvel, Wanda, even Strange, floating above the skyline. "This isn't a fight," Tony said. "This is a reset." Thor looked up at the hammer. "It doesn't want to destroy the world." Tony's mask slid down. "It wants to destroy you." The hammer flared. A wave of black gold light erupted across the city. Gravity inverted for 1 second. Hulk leapt, roaring. The hammer caught him midair, suspended him like a marionette, and drained his gamma like water. Hulk crashed to the ground in Banner's form. Unconscious, barely breathing, Wanda attacked next. Red chaos magic spiraled toward the hammer, but it bent mid-flight, changing shape, changing color, before snapping back and reversing into her chest. She dropped, still breathing, but muted, like her power had been absorbed. Captain Marvel flew straight into the sky, charging energy until she became a white-hot comet. She dove. Thor whispered, "Forgive me." He raised the hammer. It didn't blast. It didn't explode. It sang, a sound so deep it silenced the world for 3 seconds. When sound returned, Carol was gone. No smoke, no crater, just air rippling like memory. Only Tony remained. He stood beneath Thor as the sky opened wider. "Don't do this," he said. "You are not the hammer." "I was never worthy," Thor said, tears in his eyes. "But it is." The hammer floated above them now, glowing black at its edges, gold at its heart, veins of light pulsing in time with Thor's heartbeat. Then it spoke, for the first time in full voice. "You lifted me in strength, but I was made to lift your death. All gods fall. You will be the last. From your body, we will forge the new pantheon." The sky split. A ring of stars formed, like a forge igniting in the heavens. Tony opened a hidden protocol in his suit. "Got killer_protocol Z. I'm sorry, big eye." He fired. A straight beam of anti-cosmic energy hit Thor square in the chest. The hammer screamed, and Thor laughed. The God Killer breathes. Thor didn't fall. Even after Iron Man's full-force God Killer protocol detonated point-blank into his chest, he didn't fall. The explosion shattered every window in Midtown. It scorched the top 3 floors of Avengers Tower. It cracked the sky. But Thor stood. Smoke curled from his skin. The hammer trembled in the air beside him. Its once smooth core now splintered, pulsing with blood-red fractures. And Thor smiled. Not because he survived. Because, for the first time, he didn't feel pain. He felt nothing. Tony's voice cracked in the comms. "He's still standing." Shuri's voice came in from Wakanda. That protocol was calibrated to pierce celestial armor. "What is he now?" No one answered. Because Thor wasn't Thor anymore. The hammer began to change. Its once solid shape liquefied, flowing up Thor's arm like molten metal laced with stars. He didn't resist, didn't scream, didn't blink. As the handle wrapped around his spine, the head of the hammer curved forward, embedding itself in his chest like a second heart. His eyes turned black, his veins glowed white, and every hair on the planet stood still. Because the God Killer had awakened. Doctor Strange felt it first, a sharp fracture in magical continuity, as if reality had forgotten its own rules. He appeared in the Sanctum's upper chamber, holding the eye of Agamotto. "Wong," he said, breathless. "It's not just feeding on Thor." Wong looked up. "Then what is it?" Strange's hands trembled. "It's writing a new law of physics to round him." Meanwhile, underground, Banner had been rushed to Wakanda, but he was already changing. Not into Hulk, into something else. His cells, once bound to Gamma, were now rejecting it. The hammer's draining field hadn't just taken energy. It had left code behind. Banner's bones cracked. His heartbeat doubled. And then, he began to lift off the table. Shuri gasped. Bruce opened his eyes, glowing dim green. Not Hulk. Not man. Something in between. "He's rewriting us," Banner whispered. One by one. Back in New York, Carol reappeared. She hadn't been destroyed. She'd been folded. Somewhere in between seconds, in a pocket dimension, the hammer had stitched midair. She clawed her way out. energy flaring around her like a sun igniting. She dropped to the ground, coughing, body flickering like a dying star. "Tony, don't hit him again," she said, shivering. Tony helped her up. "You're alive." "Barely," she said. "That thing, it split my atoms and kept me in a memory." Memory of what? Of losing. Above them, Thor rose. Not flying, floating. The air bent around him, soft, like fabric. Reality began to ripple, not with power, but with acceptance. The earth had started to adjust. Skies grew darker at noon. Gravity shifted subtly at sea level. Magnetic fields changed frequency. Nature didn't resist the God Killer. It welcomed him, like he was inevitable. Wanda appeared beside Tony, holding her chest. "I can't connect to chaos magic anymore." Tony stared at her. "I'm serious," she said. "It's like the field is gone. I reach for it, and it just..." She clenched her fist. "Nothing. I think it's already rewriting the laws." And then the hammer spoke again. Not aloud. Through everything. "The age of thunder is over. The God who lifts me has become the forge. From his fall, a world of order shall rise. All who resist will be rewritten." Thor's mouth opened, but it wasn't Thor's voice that came out. It was hollow, ancient, like language stripped of meaning. "I am not your son. I am not your friend. I am not your king. I am the shape of silence, and this world will breathe as I command." Carol stood. "I'm ending this." "Wait," Tony said. "You can't." But she was already flying. Carol went binary, her entire body glowing like a second sun, and shot through the sky. She screamed, thunder in her voice, rage in her core. She hit Thor at full speed. The sky erupted in gold and red, and for 1 second it looked like she won. But when the light cleared, she was gone again. No explosion, no scream, just gone. Thor looked down at his hand and clenched it once, far across the galaxy. On a broken moon once ruled by gods of thought, a statue cracked, the face of a forgotten deity shattering into dust. The hammer's echo reached there too, and something inside the moon woke up. Back on Earth, Dr. Strange began to panic. He flipped through ancient tomes, scrolls, dimensions of memory and time. He whispered, "I've seen this symbol before." Wong approached. "Where?" "In a death spell," Strange said, "but not a spell to kill." Wong frowned. "Then what?" Strange looked up, terrified. "A spell to remember the last god before the next one rises." In the Wakandan lab, Bruce finally stood. He wasn't Banner anymore. He wasn't Hulk either. He was taller, leaner, and glowing from inside. A perfect balance of logic and fury. He said one thing, "Take me to him." The final scene of Part 3. Thor hovering above Earth, hands extended. The hammer, fully fused into his body, begins projecting rings of force that rotate around the planet. Not attacking, terraforming, changing Earth to match the God-Killer's memory. And as oceans rise and skies bend, the stars begin to align into a single word: obedience. The new Hulk bleeds the sky. The Earth was changing. You couldn't see it at first, not from the streets, not from the towers, but satellites caught it. The oceans were shifting color. The clouds were moving in calculated spirals. The continents weren't drifting, they were aligning, as if the planet itself was bending to match the memory inside Thor's new heart. No longer Asgardian, no longer Avenger. He floated above the clouds, eyes shut, hammer embedded in his chest like a second spine, commanding everything with thought alone. And then came Bruce. Not the Hulk, not Banner, but something new, a hybrid form forged by trauma, tempered by Thor's energy field, and shaped by raw gamma desperation. He stepped onto the top of Mount Everest, the closest ground to where Thor floated. His skin glowed green gold. His eyes pulsed with shifting symbols. His voice was steady, calm. "Thor, it's me." Thor opened his eyes. The clouds twisted into spirals around him. "You are late." Bruce didn't flinch. "You said if you ever became a weapon, I should be the one to stop you. And here you are," Thor said, smiling faintly. still trying to balance rage and reason, still trying to save a friend. With no sound, Thor vanished and reappeared in front of Bruce, hovering inches above the rock. "I remember when your fists meant something." Bruce raised his arms. He didn't roar. He simply struck. The shockwave split the Himalayas. One punch. Thor didn't block. He absorbed it through the hammer fused in his body and released it back tenfold. Bruce flew miles backward, crashing through 5 ridgelines before landing in a crater of his own creation. He stood up, smiled, spit out blood. "Better," he said. "Try again." They clashed in the air. Each impact twisted the skies. Thor's punches weren't thunder. They were rewrites. Each blow erased gravity for seconds, shifted wind directions, reprogrammed sound itself. But Bruce kept coming. He moved like Hulk, thought like Banner, and attacked like a man who knew there was no round 2. He wasn't trying to win. He was trying to wake Thor up. Down below, Shuri watched the sky light up with pulses of green and gold. "They're not just fighting," she whispered. "They're sinking." Wanda gasped. Bruce is linking to the hammer's field. Strange's eyes went wide. He's rewriting himself mid-battle to survive Thor's physics. Tony muttered, "He's doing what none of us could." Wanda nodded. He's reaching the part of Thor that's still human. Finally, Bruce landed a hit that cracked the hammer's outer shell. Thor screamed, not in pain, but in remembrance. He fell, just for a moment. And in that second, Bruce grabbed him, held him, spoke quietly. "You are not a forge. You are not their memory. You are our friend." The cloud stopped. The light paused. Thor opened his eyes and blinked once. Then the hammer pulsed violently. A new voice echoed from above, deeper, older, alien. "He is not yours anymore." The sky split open, and from beyond it descended another, wearing the same hammer. But this one wasn't Thor. He was what Thor would become if he fully fused. Bigger, colder, dead-eyed. "I am the final shape. This one is unfinished." Bruce looked up at the real enemy and whispered, "Then let's finish him before Thor becomes you." The final shape must die. The new being hovered above the earth, towering, silent, flawless. A god not born, but engineered. Thor floated below it, flickering, caught between 2 forms. The man who remembered friendship and the weapon he was becoming. Bruce stood between them both. One final chance. "You were never meant to survive," the final shape said, voice echoing through the sky. "Only to serve, to forge, to fall." Bruce clenched his fists, bones creaking under gravity that no longer obeyed rules. "Then let me rewrite the ending," he growled. He launched upward, faster than any gamma leap before. But the final shape didn't move. It simply blinked, and space folded. Bruce vanished midair, reappeared spiraling into the ocean. The water turned to vapor before he hit it. A mushroom cloud rose, but he emerged seconds later, glowing even brighter, screaming, "You don't get to erase him." Above, Thor screamed too, but not in rage. In memory, visions surged. Steve's hand on his shoulder, Banner's voice in his ear, Jane's laughter in the rain, Odin's last words, "Even kings must kneel to protect their people." The hammer inside his chest pulsed violently, trying to overwrite, trying to finalize. Thor clenched his jaw and said the one word it feared. No. Lightning split the sky, but it wasn't his. It came from Earth. A final surge of resistance from the soil, the storms, the oceans, rising up in revolt. The planet itself remembered Thor, and it sent everything back to him. The hammer shuddered. It began to crack. The final shape reacted, launching downward, hand raised like a blade, aimed to end Thor's form before the bond broke. Bruce was faster. He collided with the god mid-flight, gamma rage unleashed. The 2 titans crashed into the upper atmosphere, light bursting across the horizon. They traded blows with time-warping force, each punch a sentence in the last chapter of Earth's fate. And below them, Thor tore the hammer from his chest, screaming, bleeding, burning. "I was never your god. The hammer came loose, half-formed, howling, alive. Thor hurled it straight into the final shape's heart. Not to kill it, to remind it of who it came from, of what it tried to erase, of everything it could never become. The final shape screamed as it absorbed the broken hammer. Its form glitched, celestial symbols crumbling from its skin. It looked at Thor, and for a moment, feared. Then, boom, a silent explosion. No sound, just light. Everything stopped. When it cleared, Bruce floated unconscious in the air. Thor fell through the clouds, smoking, barely breathing, but free. The hammer was gone. So was the final shape. Later in New Asgard, Thor sat beneath the stars, a cane beside him now, body still healing, but heart intact. Bruce stood nearby, arms crossed, half-scarred, glowing faintly. "You could have become anything," Bruce said. "I did," Thor replied. "I became the one who stopped it." The last line of the saga. Some weapons choose their masters, but some masters remember when to let go. End of story.